Commissioners meeting is June 14th, and it is, what time is it?
7:06.
7. And present is Keith Waniaz, Bob Sullivan, Bob Josie. So we're gonna open up the meeting. Bob, you have
I have one quick item. You're familiar with the mobile property, 104 Main Street?
The mobile pipeline.
The
Yeah.
mobile pipeline, you guys paid for that property, it's
Yeah.
almost 50 acres. I've got Mass Hoistings, which is a training company, heavy equipment training company. They have a ground school, they have equipment where you dig holes, fill it, it's a school. Get your hoisting licenses from them. We walked the property last Saturday. They're interested in the fenced-in area and this corner for digging. The pipeline is coming from there to the building, and then there's one going out. The other pipeline crosses Main Street to the building. He's interested in this area right there.
So I'm gonna do it with pencil. So I have some drawings. But I would say pipeline coming out of here goes from right here.
Yep.
Right there.
And there's one
Yep.
here.
That's right down. Yep.
Now, we
There's that little
found,
black spot right there.
what's
I
that?
mean, what are those?
That's the
Oh,
buildings.
These are the buildings.
So that's the
Okay.
office.
That's the fenced-in area, and there's
that's
two
the-
Oh,
big
yeah,
buildings.
okay.
There's one
The
big
office building and the
two
big
small
gantry
buildings.
Right. Mhm.
pavilion
Okay.
type thing.
We found this pipeline. This pipeline comes, the one under 16 under Main Street, comes up out of the ground to a valve, it's capped. We know where that one is.
Aren't
This
those
one,
filled with cement? Yeah.
At the road crossing.
at the road crossing.
Oh, just at the
They're
road crossing.
dead pipes. The one we could not find is even this right of way. These right of ways are easily marked. They're 50-foot easements, and they're cleared with the yellow, what do they call those yellow
Marker,
markers?
yeah.
There is nothing on this line, and
What is
it's
that right of way?
trade.
That's the old Worcester line. But when we purchased the property, they let go that easement. So that's the old easement for the pipeline that went through that way, goes through GBI's and then cuts across and goes by Mike Cahill's property on Manchog Road.
This one shows almost up near the cemetery. Well, that is GBI's property there, and then
Yeah,
it
that's
crosses
cemetery and
West
then it
Street,
crosses over.
right at the corners of the cemetery.
Yep, and it goes across over by St. Denis Cemetery.
Yep.
And comes out. There's actually the easement goes through where Mikey Cahill's his brother's old place. If you go down Manchog Road, just before you get to the river,
Yep.
or the bridge, that old house that had the foundation. There's a house going up new there now, but that's where that pipeline comes through there.
Is it marked over there? Because it's not marked anywhere around here.
Yeah, no, but we've got locating equipment. We can find that. So we can find that, but that's, like I said, it's a dead pipe, and it's they released the easement. They didn't maintain the easement for that one. So theoretically, we could dig that up if we wanted to. But
Well,
We
we could
own all
dig,
that
we own this whole area.
up there, but
no, that's Louis owns
This is-
where his pencil is now.
That's
Oh,
number,
okay.
that's lot number 3.
Yeah.
well, that easement's on Louis' property, not
Yes.
ours, right?
No, there used to be an easement going through ours right over to, like right where his pencil was. That pencil
Oh,
right there.
oh.
That used to be an easement, so there's still a pipe. in
The other
ground.
easement's still there.
Yeah, this one.
Oh
is-
yeah, from Louis and them.
Yeah.
They still have an active easement, but they're not going to use it. So I'm sure if they called, they could get it released. But
In his training school, he just takes a backhoe excavator, digs an 8-foot hole, fills it in. He's not technically doing excavation per se. And I know the Water Sewer Commissioners, you guys bought that property, so that's why I'm here to present.
So what do they wanna
the
do with it?
ATQ.
they want to run a training school.
They want to run training school.
Use it or buy it?
They'll lease it.
Use it.
Lease it.
Is there any issue with disturbing what could possibly be in the ground over there?
Well, that's what I said. We got to look into the agreement. Actually, did you pull up
I
the?
looked at the deed, and
Yeah, I didn't look at it yet.
the deed does say, it has any permanent building structures, obstruction, shed houses, buildings, parking lots, storage areas, impoundments of water, or any permanent improvements or similar use. We're not doing any of that. But the next sentence, allow or permit excavation, quarrying, or mining operations. We won't be doing quarrying, we won't be doing mining operations. The only key word there is excavation. Are we really excavating if we're digging a hole, filling it in?
Well,
Technically,
per the regulation, if you go by dig safes, anytime you,
Dig,
if you use a spoon and take a scoop of dirt out, you're excavating. And you're supposed to notify a dig safe, but,
now you can apply without you can apply for written permission from the grantor, so this,
So that would
this
be-
permission is a 10-year deed and it's good till 2015, 2025. 2015 is when it was, active.
so you get 4 more.
So we can always
Can't
get
go into
written
on that for
permission
10
to
years,
do
right?
the excavation.
Theoretically, but if it's written there that you can get written permission, then we would just have to contact Mobile.
Mm-hmm,
Because that was put in place when Mobile sold it to Buckeye.
right.
So it's not the people we purchased it from.
Yeah, it's Buckeye Pipeline Company.
so what's the sort, they wanna lease it from us?
Yes, we can't sell it because
Yeah, I mean,
2025 is when we actually take possession of.
Yeah, well, we don't want to sell it anyway because
No.
we purchased it for the reason to protect the water and potentially if there's ever development going on from Sunset and GBI's modular homes, anything towards the gazebo, any development, we would need a pump station down at the bottom of that property. So that was theoretically why we purchased it was.
And those talk of putting the DPW building over there,
Yeah, there's been conversations about that as well.
so. But we're looking at the 50 acres, I mapped it out just now, and that shaded area is roughly 7.5, does not go all the way to the street. 7.5, 8 acres, and I can cut that down to maybe 7.
I know, is that something we can do?
I believe so, yeah.
We can lease it, the money comes to us?
Yeah, you can
That-
lease it.
That would have to be a conversation.
Conversation with Matt.
Have this concerns with disturbing that whole thing.
Hmm.
You know,
Because
that was
of
the whole
that area.
purpose behind us getting it, so that that just wasn't disturbed. You know, you're backing up the dump and then whatever was possibly in the ground there for Mobile, which they would supposedly is clean, but
Yeah, I mean, they got it signed off by DEP, so
yeah.
theoretically that area is clean, but. I mean, if that's your concern, I would say maybe we invest the money and do a couple borings with some sampling.
Yeah, but then you're gonna uncover something,
Yeah, I know you could.
you know, especially with the dump sitting uphill. And that was the whole point behind that.
Yep.
I mean, what's there is there, it's in the ground. He would be digging a hole, filling it in, next day digging the same hole.
Well, then you don't need 7 acres to dig a hole, do you?
Well, the fenced-in area to store the equipment.
Yeah.
And you got the 2 pipelines.
I've seen these schools down in, there used to be one off the New Jersey Turnpike that was just,
Oh, that big one, yeah.
yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
I know exactly which one you're talking about,
I
too.
just don't wanna see it turned into a sand pit, because then it's just completely, yeah, maybe he's not mining it out, but he's digging it and moving it and transferring it and, you know.
So when you had conversations with him, I know, Concom gets involved when you have open dirt, and obviously, I mean, if he's digging it and putting it back, it's gonna be open and no grass or anything, so did he mention anything if they put hay bales or anything to contain?
I mean, that could be one of the conditions, hay bales downhill.
Yeah, but if he's going for a 10-year lease or something like that, then we can have a 10-year-old hay bale, you know what I mean?
I would probably recommend that we ask conservation what they would recommend. at that point if we were gonna move forward, just.
Cause not too far in the woods over there, there's a lot of water too.
Right, I mean, the stream comes through
Yeah.
just off a little ways over from, you know, where the
But
bottom of
that
that
is,
property
Widowbrook
is.
runs right through there.
Yeah.
Centerville Brook is below it.
Yeah.
He's only got a small pie-shaped area to dig because the pipeline has the easements.
Right, so he's,
And they take off,
so what you're looking
all the
at is
property.
above the two pipelines.
Right.
Up that way. And it's
How
gotta
far
be,
is it gonna be
it's gotta be at
from the
least 25 feet from the,
yeah, the only place you
Long
can dig is right here.
yeah.
Because if you draw in the easements, it just takes away the land.
Yeah, 'cause you got 25 feet on each side.
You can't be digging over here.
No, that's all wet.
The town had the garden over here, last year's vegetable garden,
Yeah, it's up that way more. No, back down. That
right here,
right where the intersection of those two pipes are.
Right here?
Yeah, now come this way. Town's garden. Right there.
Right there. The driveway comes in. There's a driveway that looks like that right now. And then the other driveway goes, I believe that's your building right now, your store and stuff.
Yep.
We own that, not the town. So what?
It depends on how you look at it, because the way the deed was written, it was town of Douglas. So I would have the concern that, similar to when the MTBE money check came in, it was written out to the town of Douglas. Based on the attorney's interpretation of that, the town had the right to take that money and use it however they wanted. But the 1.5 or so.
I think it was explained to
Retained
us,
earnings.
like the school property is technically town property, but it's
Right.
school property to be used for school purposes. If they use it for something else, it reverts back to the town. So if you purchased this, if you used it for water sewer work, it would be yours. Anything else, it would revert back to the town. I don't think he's gonna be getting to the size operation that you saw in New Jersey.
No, I'm sure not, but I'm sure it's,
Not when you get 4 out of these 7 acres totally unusable.
Right.
He won't be digging inside the fenced area, which is 1 acre right off the bat.
and how many, tree removal and all of that.
There's no trees there.
No. There
That's
might
all-
be that
that's
one
all open up
isolated
there.
tree grown in the middle of the field.
Yeah.
And I
So you're
think that-
talking between 16 and the building then?
No, behind the building.
No.
Yeah, I'll pull it up on-
Well, I know, I've been in there a gazillion times, I've hunted in there all last year.
Yeah, I'll just pull up the Google Earth.
So you got the big round concrete thing at the start of the pipeline. So where from the big round concrete?
It's kind of like that would be the top part of that. Now go back this way towards us,
Yeah.
and along that way, over to the tree line almost, and then kind of on a triangle shape back. Let me pull it up and we'll see.
What would be the hours of operation too, another thing? We got neighbors
Yeah,
there.
there's neighbors there.
It would be daytime operation. And I don't think he's open on weekends.
Yeah, but the backup alarms and all those things, how annoying is that thing?
We're not too far away from the neighbors over there. That black spot over there, is that what you're talking about? What do you want on the yellow paper? That's what he wants.
Yeah,
That
those
area.
2 houses right there, you're very close.
So he would be talking about the fenced-in area, and then the pipeline comes right through here, so it would be this way, and then this pipeline comes up this way, so they'd be looking at this pie right here to be digging. So this is the building, the gantry, the driveway comes in.
Mhm.
The pipeline comes right up through here,
Right.
through there. So he'd be staying 25 foot this way, and then along this way, and then down and over here.
Oh, he's gonna be way up in here.
Yeah.
Nowhere near the houses.
No.
Oh,
And you'd have the building screening noise.
So that's gotta be, how far away from the road?
well, it's quite a ways by the looks of it.
Yeah, from the road, but not from the two houses.
450 feet from the road. Maybe a little over 400 feet to that first house, or the closest house, I should say. And that's the closest this way that they would be digging. So more where they'd be digging is over 500 feet. So how long did you say they're looking for a lease?
They definitely want to be there long term. And I'm trying to get
What do you
him.
mean by long term? Forever?
Could be.
What's the longest
I'm
the
trying to
town?
find him another place, and the school property was the good piece where they dump the snow right now, but there's a problem with just dealing with the schools at this time of the year.
Right.
So I'm going for the simple to get him established in Douglas. And I just noticed that we just walked up to the tree area. This involves the trees, and there will be no cutting of trees.
Yeah, so
I
that's
just took a simple corner of the property line and just brought it down, squared it off 7 acres. But if the trees are in here, we're down to 4 acres. 'Cause I just noticed,
in less than an acre for where the fenced in area is.
right, and there's the fenced in area. And he's got a very small wedge right there where it's to dig.
Yeah, it seems only digging in an acre or so.
You could even leave those trees there as shield for the houses.
Now, if we had any problem, it'd be way down this way, wouldn't it be? Towards Main Street, if there was, we had talked about some type of problem that might be in there for,
Well, when they pulled the oil tank out of the ground, that was all this side of the, like, between the building and the road.
there would be no possible contamination way up in that area?
Oh, there's always a possibility. I mean, if they ever had
Possibility,
a,
yeah.
if they ever had a broken pipe or something in the ground up there, who knows? I mean, it could travel anywhere, but my assumption
Where
would
does
be
the
that,
pipe go through there that's there now?
Right here.
Oh, it's right there, so it's
Right
nowhere
there.
near over that area.
No, and the other pipe is going right there. So he's limited in this area right here to dig.
and I would assume that if they had any spills or anything kind of in that area, it probably would have shown up in some samples at our wells by now, because that hasn't been used in how many years?
Why? What about the pit by the soccer fields?
Yeah,
For this operation.
yeah. Did you think about that at all? Out behind the old VFD, the VFW,
That's all town all the way in too.
Yeah,
and that's all sand.
Yeah, I know John dumps his catch basin material in there. Plus you got the stumps.
All the stumps and stuff got ground and they're all out of there and he's not allowing dumping them back in there. As far as I know. This last year they went in there with a giant grinder and ground all the
What
brush.
attracted him to this place was the fence
Right.
being secure for equipment.
Well, I think it'd probably be wise if we had a meeting with Matt, Conservation, and us. But I know we wanna tie something up long term like that too.
Well, I don't know how long the town can actually enter into a contract. I know typically I was told, like any other contracts that I do, I'm limited to 3 years with a few exceptions if there was some benefit to go 5 years. But I don't know if that's on this type of lease.
How
It's,
did they lease the post office? That's a 10-year lease, I thought.
yeah, I'm not sure. That's what I mean. I don't know if there's some
Some
kind
Matt
of.
said he could go 19 without exceeding limits.
Okay. So
The
I mean,
other,
that's good.
well, I was just gonna say, the other thing too with, you know, you leasing from the town and stuff, but, and I know there's, you know, private property with a contractor already nearby, but, you know, with hydraulic oil and diesel and, you know, and now he's on the water department's quote property, and
Yep.
I just, you know, the optics on that, and the potential for an incident with that too. I just don't know if that's the best spot.
I can call John Vernals to talk about behind the VFW.
Because that's in our aquifer.
That's zone 1, right?
Zone 2
That's zone 2?
That's closer to your wells than
to the Glen Street
This
wells.
side.
Yeah.
Glen Street will.
Oh, that you're probably pretty close either way.
Either way, you're close.
But
I think that
this one, you're downhill of Glen Street, correct?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Versus VFW, you're pretty much
Yeah, but then
level.
it's uphill
Yeah.
of West Street.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you had an incident over on VFW, it would affect the Glen Street wells. If you had an incident there, it would affect the West Street wells.
So either way, you've got
Either
a,
way.
I mean, the best scenario would probably be down like Davis Street area, but
we exhausted
I was gonna
everything.
say I know you've been
Except-
all over Davis
We
Street.
even tried the last piece and it's so wet, you'd be lucky you put a hot dog stand on there. It's that bad.
Yeah.
The school property would be ideal. If we can just do a short-term solution with this guy, just get him in Douglas. Once he's established, we could move him.
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, if you're concerned about long term, you just do a smaller term lease that's, you know, at the discretion of the town, renewable or
I
whatever.
mean, he was ideally looking at the school property where we dumped the snow. That was perfect, but there's a question of the stuff that came out of here, this fill, is dumped up there. We'd have to get that tested.
Hang on a second, I just gotta take this real quick. I don't know why he keeps calling. I tell him I-
Stuff that came from here,
Yeah,
it was dumped up, oh yeah, that's right too now.
because this is where the old axe
Mm-hmm.
mill was. Now, I can only assume it's only iron that's in iron contamination. I don't think there's heavy metals.
Yeah, because they didn't excavate where we used to bury the solids. That's all still intact over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
And that's what he's planning on that hill, build a schoolhouse. And then have the excavation where they're dumping the snow. But we're always worried about getting ledge too. 'Cause if you hit ledge, you can't dig.
yeah, and there you're all done.
Yeah, or you have to worry about a hydraulic lines breaking or something like that,
Well, that's part of learning your trade too. Is
fixing them.
yeah.
Or they
I'm
would
not
be.
saying you're gonna do an in chassis on the engine, but the operator usually fixes the line. So just a concern. Didn't want to rain on the parade, but
Oh, I know. So that's why I'm here.
yeah, it's a tough spot.
That's why I'm here.
any private property down on Davis Street that,
We searched.
no?
There is nothing. The only undeveloped property is where the schools are. There's like 5 or 6 parcels,
Mm.
and they control every one of them.
Yep.
The school.
School.
Yeah, that'd be the better spot. And again, there's another heavy equipment operator backed up to that,
Plus you got water sewer there too.
so.
Mm.
If you're gonna build a school building, you've got water sewer right there. Well, no, not right. It ends at the high school. We'd have to bring it up.
Yeah, you gotta bring it up a little
Bring
bit.
it up.
Yeah.
Next year's Mass Works.
Well, they don't need water and sewer, or do they?
If they build a sizable building, they will. But you
Oh,
can-
they're talking about maybe even building a
building,
building
a
there.
building, a building. Now here is, he's gonna bring in a trailer. There's not building any structures here.
okay.
He's not even using the existing building that's there, cause it's all musty inside, mold.
Mm-hmm.
We went in there and it's just not conducive to,
No,
To
that
health.
roof has been leaking forever.
so he would bring in his own trailer right now to get this operation going. But the fenced-in area did catch his attention for security for the equipment.
Alright.
And I think he's talking a couple backhoes and an excavator and maybe a small bulldozer, and that's it.
Well, I guess we can keep poking around and see if something else comes up. You know?
All right. I'll talk to John
Yeah.
about, behind VFW, by the soccer fields.
That probably, I don't know, that's probably not a better place either because that's all been dug out.
Yeah.
It's
Where?
pretty low down in there.
Yeah, it is low. The pit behind the soccer fields.
Yeah, but you're only digging
8 feet.
8 feet and filling it back in. That you'd have to check where the,
Well, where the stumps were is a lot higher than where he
Right.
was dumping his catch basin material.
Mm.
And I'd say that was a good 10-foot banking.
yeah.
So if you dug where the stumps were, you're at the level of where the bottom of the catch basin material was.
So I think that would be a matter of doing some borings to see how far you are from the high water mark for the water table, and then determining if you're coming within that, based on the aquifer protection bylaw that says you can't be within so many feet of the aquifer protection.
Was-
Wasn't there a problem with that? They were right at the bottom mark years ago.
I'm not sure where they got too deep.
You remember
that was,
about
that was a
that?
long time. That was before he was
Yeah,
on the
I don't
board.
remember
That's
that.
before you were on there. There was something about that was dug out so far that the water was actually coming out of the ground.
Made a little pond back there.
Mm. Because it got dug down so low. That was right at the water table.
How far do you have to be above water table?
I want
4
to say
feet?
it's 10 feet.
10 feet?
You have to do some research. I'm sure there's some information on that somewhere. I don't know where, but I remember when Tony was down here, he was having a fit because of the water table was right there.
Mm.
Well, give it some thought, come up with some ideas, talk to Matt, talk conservation, we'll
Yeah.
talk amongst ourselves and come up with different,
Do a little more research.
yeah. You want a timetable on this too?
Well, we've been putting him off for quite a while now. And I'm getting to the end of his patience.
Into the rope.
This would be the easy solution to get him in. Would you consider a 1-year lease on this for now, just so it gives me, buy some time to get an alternate.
Yeah, we got more research to do on that, wouldn't we?
Yeah, because we gotta find, you know,
I mean, just
I mean,
to do
a
the due
hydraulic line
diligence.
could break the first day
Yeah.
he's in there too, you know, you don't know. So I mean, this is what our concern is.
So I guess there would be a few things to consider. That would be stipulations, like I said, the conservation stuff for erosion control. I'd probably want to do a couple small borings to see if there's any contamination that they'd be disturbing. And if you got a clean bill of health on that, then it would be a matter of having a good response plan in case there's any spills or leaks to manage.
Who would do the first test pit? You or Highway?
I wouldn't want to do a test pit. I'd have them come in and do a core
Do the
sample.
Core
sample.
samples, yeah.
Yeah, they just do like a 2-inch.
I mean, that's something that could be, you know, if a hydraulic line breaks, I mean, it could be a matter of putting stuff down and take it out and dig that area out.
I was gonna say, I
And
mean,
get rid of it right away.
yeah, if you have an incident, but you know, we'd need some stringent. You
Yeah, they'd
can't
have to
say,
be a
"Oh,
plan.
nobody's gonna notice it." You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'd have to be a plan, a written plan.
Yeah. So I mean, there's things like, you know, if you built some kind of containment inside or something so you have visual inspections to see if there's any of the equipment's leaking or anything like that. Within the area where he stores it, because I would assume he's going to bring it all inside the fence area to store it, and then
Store it, and then drive it back.
drive
out.
it back out there to do the excavations. But you know, we'd probably want some type of written procedure where they do, you know, like when you did a plan, you do your walk around, you do your inspection, you know, before you go use the equipment. Pre-flight
As far as
inspection.
parking, you know, the equipment overnight, I mean, would we wanna put it in a containment area or something, or?
Well, containment area would be huge money and
Yeah.
probably
Right.
construction that you couldn't do within that
Right.
easement and on the property based on the deed.
I mean, just on the backside of the landfill, that brook that comes through there's a whole section of that that's all rust colored from that oxidizing iron.
Mm.
I don't even know what they call it, but I mean, the whole brook is orange, the ground's orange.
Yeah, naturally occurring iron.
Yeah.
Coming out of anywhere you get surface water.
It doesn't look
it's-
natural when you look at it. I know it's natural, but it's just when you look
It
at
looks
it,
bad.
It's scary.
Yeah,
to
It's
look
just
at.
Yeah.
iron in the ground
in the ground.
itself.
Yeah. So, but,
That's where they threw everything in that dump
Oh.
years ago. Everything.
Yeah, I know.
You hope it's iron.
right, right.
It's one of the last things that keeps me up at night here.
You wouldn't wanna do a core sampling over there.
Anyway, okay.
Alright, we'll give it some thought and
All right.
talk about it and.
All right. I'm done.
Okay.
Told you that'd be quick.
Yeah, that wasn't quick.
That wasn't
That's all right. You're never quick, you know better.
But it would be nice to get a stream of revenue coming out.
Yeah, no, it would absolutely.
Yeah, that's all I'm trying to do is bring our taxes, get them in line.
Well, no, but the revenue would be coming to us, I think.
Well, like I said, that would be a negotiation that we have with the town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can see both sides. You know, I argue all the time that the town should be paying certain bills because the water system benefits other parts of town that's
Right.
not on the water system because they use the water system for
Yeah.
fighting fires and
Right.
you know, development brings.
I mean, that's something.
If we didn't have water to put in this development that we're looking at potentially down here, then, you know, all that tax revenue would be lost because we wouldn't be supplying them, so. There's certain things that the town, you know, in my opinion, should bring in, but being the devil's advocate, you know, this property, we bought it and kinda took it off the tax base.
Yeah.
So there's a tax revenue source that the town lost. So
So
this
we
is
could
kinda one
split
of those where we could
or
offset
something.
that and say, alright,
Yeah.
we're willing to split it and the town gets a portion and we get a portion because they lost
Well, that
revenue.
That would be right.
Well, the other thing too is one of the plans for that property was to mine it out, so and that would have disturbed.
Yeah,
And that's
and that's what I didn't wanna do
Yeah.
was
Yeah, and
go in there and
that's-
completely mine the sand
Right,
and
that's
gravel.
what you didn't wanna
Yeah,
do.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this would kind of preserve that theory.
Because that's my natural filter from anything up gradient coming down to our wells. So you can't ask for a better filter than that.
I mean, with the loss of revenue for the town, we survived. And
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
I don't see a problem with you guys getting all the money for whatever lease we
Um,
arrange.
Well, I don't
think
either,
Rob's
but
right. We
like I said,
probably
Yeah.
would split.
Yeah.
just my personal opinion is that we took a section of tax revenue away from the town. You know, like I said, I try to be fair when I
Mhm.
argue my points as to why the
Mhm.
town should pay for portions of some of the projects we do, and I have rationale behind it. I could rationalize a split. What the percentage is needs to be discussed, but like I said, I try to play fair. So that's
Right.
just my opinion. I mean, that would be up to the board to make that call and determine where they'd want to be.
I can call Rick tomorrow and find out exactly what equipment's going on there.
Yeah.
Does he have a thing like this somewhere else, or is this brand new?
I think he has one in Rentham.
So in other words, he's been doing this.
Oh, he's
so-
been doing this.
So he would have
As a
some
matter of
kind of
fact, some
plan on.
some of our highway guys have already got licensed from him. He's been in business for quite a while. He just wants to get centrally located, get to Connecticut, Rhode Island.
So if he has other places, he must have stuff in place for emergency leak or.
Oh, I'm sure he does. He's been in business for quite a while.
Well, would it be helpful to get some of that information from
Yeah,
him?
if he operates near his zone 2 or in his zone
Mhm.
2 or something like that.
So if he has any documentation or copies of policies that he uses
Yeah.
for,
Yeah, yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be a good help to
Yeah.
us.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not sure how big he is, but at some point you hit the SPCC plans, spill control and countermeasure plans that require written policies on what your procedures are and they get approved by the state. So,
Yeah, I should have had him come here at this meeting.
I mean, he knows that if he has a spill above a certain amount of gallons of oil, it's reportable to the state, and he has to take remediation action.
Mhm.
And if he's got the equipment right there, it could be a quick and easy remediation. He gets calls up Ben, asking for a container. You line it with 6 mil poly and fill it up and cover it, and you just got to dispose of it. You go to Amrak with it. But so I mean, I think it's an easy fix as long as he's diligent about not trying to get away with something.
Right.
So
Alright, well, have him
Okay,
get some information on that and we'll.
I'll give it to Bob and we'll pass it out to you guys.
Cool. Thank you.
All right,
thanks, Bob.
thank you.
Very good. Have a good night.
I'm gonna try. You guys too.
Make any headway with your investigation this morning?
0. Big meeting for tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock. The heads.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that one.
No.
All right, thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks, Bob.
You're welcome.
Can we pass over the meeting minutes until the next one?
Yeah.
There's,
Yeah, you
there's
wanna
a,
do that?
yeah, there's a lot of
get
them.
up. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So
So
I'm gonna skip over that now.
we'll do the monthly reports.
Okay.
Let's get those out of the way. So monthly sewer report for the month of May, we had 6.23 inches of rain. Synagro hauled 104,400 gallons. We had a flow of 5,310,464 gallons for an average of 171,305 gallons per day. Wasted 163,940 gallons for an average of 5,289 gallons a day. We used 688 gallons of alum, 316 kilowatt hours of electricity, and the river flow average was 39.517 cubic feet per second. We had a delivery of alum. DMR QA study 41 is officially started. We received 4 inches of rain over the last 4 days of May. planning the cleanouts of the 2 influent lines into the river and the Colonial Pump Station. And one thing we didn't list on here was they finished the meter portion of the I&I study. So they pulled all the meters out and they're just evaluating the data at this point. So,
We had plenty of rain this month anyways.
yeah, it's good. I mean, we needed it. So. So the monthly May water report. Flow totals were from April, so the flow was 5,616,800 gallons for an average of 181,187 gallons a day. KOH was 416.25 gallons. Chlorine was 262.5 gallons of batch solution. Sampling for the month, the coliform sampling was done and everything came back clean. We did the first round of PFAS samples, and the initial results look pretty good for that. We did confirmation samples today. So the confirmation samples, we should see results in 2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah. We had,
But the initial results were pretty good.
yeah, so we were trying to get ahead of the game and send out notifications to let people know that this was coming, just because other towns have seen absolute chaos if they got results that were high. Again, it's probably good to get information out there so people can see what they're consuming and other things like their pots and pans and straws and makeup and bug spray and sunscreen, everything else. It all contains PFAS. And,
Gore-Tex is the one that threw me.
oh yeah,
The what?
The Gore-Tex.
anything that's waterproof. So all you hunters are
Yeah.
in rough shape.
But it's even in sunscreen and stuff. People are
Any-
using that every day.
Anything that's like waterproof. So if you've got the waterproof sunscreen, it's probably in there. Waterproof bug repellent, probably in there. Any of your stain resistant stuff. So if you're using stain resistant chemicals on your clothing, it probably contains it. It's in a lot of things. You know, I mean, like I said, it was designed to make our lives easier. So you don't stain your clothes and you got waterproof stuff, so you're not soaking wet. So that's so the first round that you weren't back here yet, but the first round of sampling came back decent.
Good, yeah.
Looks good. Still had a detection, so we have to do a confirmatory sample, just make sure we know the level's still below where it should be. So we grabbed that set of samples today. We'll know in 2 to 3 weeks where we stand with that set. But we have heard of systems. I talked with a lot of other systems and stuff, and there's been systems that come in at 11 parts per trillion one month, and the next month they're at 30. So
Jeez.
there's variations.
But, part of that can be the sampling.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could just be simply the sample.
I mean, we're
Is that on raw water or treated water?
it was in both.
Yep.
The only one that didn't have any at all, or at least according to the results, was Turbine. But the levels are so low, and if you read through the testing procedures and did I send you guys the reports?
Yeah.
I mean, the report, if you print it, it's about
No.
that thick for one test.
Oh no, it just sent us an email on it. It came out okay.
I thought I copied the PDF file.
Oh,
It might have been on there.
it probably
I don't know.
not.
Well,
To be
like I
honest,
said,
I've got
it is.
385 emails in my inbox I haven't gone through yet. Unfortunately.
it's less than
Yeah.
so.
But at least it's a step
Right
in
now, as
in
it
the good
stands, yeah.
direction.
I mean, I had no idea what to expect. Just knowing some of the history of the town and certain companies that kind of controlled and did whatever they want with the
Yeah.
town. And
But
dumped
Glen
things
Street and
wherever they
Turbine are in good spots, I
Yeah,
think, for given the quote history of the town.
Right.
yeah.
Away
And
from
then,
everything.
Yeah.
but another thing to consider there is, we went through and evaluated the systems and everything as best we could, and it's like, do we mess with things or do we leave it alone? Do you, we got Teflon tape on all the joints. So Turbine is like right out of the pipe. We got it PVC pipe, so it's not, we didn't use Teflon tape or anything, so it's a straight shot right to our sample tap. At Primary, we've got 15 joints that have Teflon tape on the pipe that we're sampling from. So, did that come from there?
Right.
You know, we're debating on tapping the pipe and, you know, getting it right out of the pipe, so
Right,
it's
yeah.
really close. We can see if it's a skewed test by all the Teflon that's within our sampling. It's not actually in our water.
That's what I was saying though.
Right,
You know,
so-
that sampling is just,
Hmm.
if you
And
got
just-
fabric softener on your shirt,
Yeah.
Yeah, if you saw what you have to do while you're sampling, it's
I can
ridiculous.
only imagine.
But to tell you, you got to make sure you don't wear any clothes that you use fabric softener on that day. Can't wear any waterproof gear. You know, no raincoats, no waterproof boots.
Yeah, you can't wear tough ones.
Don't go down the
Yeah.
pump station with Steve sampling, he's gonna be in his skivvies.
Yeah. So
Well, that's good anyway.
yeah, you know, like I said, I had my concerns just listening to things that have happened in the
Yeah.
past and what some of the actions that had taken place throughout the years.
This is Menarek took up one whole side.
He was going to be quick before you started. I guess he meant before you started side two. All right, so that's where we stand with the PFAS sampling. System repairs. We went up Franklin Street's Mission Tank, and we were trying to get the level sensors dialed in to make sure the pumps are coming on and off when they're supposed to. So new KOA transfer pump, discharge piping at Primary, pump station telemetry switched from the ground lease lines to the Mission systems by LaFleur Electric. So now we're gonna, you know, we've had it up and running now for a little bit, so everything seems to be working right. So now we're gonna disconnect those phone lines. That cost us
Yeah.
a couple $100 a month. So we'll discontinue all that. We've had a couple issues, but not so much with the operation, more so with the with Verizon itself, where their signal they're doing maintenance or whatever they're doing, but they shut down the signal at like 3 in the morning. So poor Peter got it twice now, where the alarms just went bananas at all the stations. They're calling in saying, you know, communication fault, because it lets us know. I mean, the system's still operating the way it's supposed to, but for alarms and stuff, it tells us every time there's a drop of a signal or something with the cell service. So unfortunately, you know, Verizon doesn't call us and say, hey, we're doing maintenance, because they probably assume most people are sleeping at night, so they
Yeah.
do it at 3 o'clock in the morning when they do this stuff. But our alarm systems know that, and it lets us know. So poor Peter didn't get any sleep. I think 2 different nights now on different weekends he was on. Let's see, we had the tank inspections done, so they dived the tanks, cleaned them, inspected them. Still look fairly good. We did some minor repairs and little tiny rust spots, all minor stuff. So we're still in good shape.
They've done all on both tanks.
Yeah, we did both tanks. Yeah. Let's see. He cut the grass at Primary, Franklin Street and Church Street. Replaced the anti-siphon valves, valve diaphragms on the chlorine and KOH pumps at Primary and Turbine. Cleaned the chlorine day tanks at Turbine. Cleaned the KOH containment at Glen. Replaced 2 meters. Did 3 final reads and did 2 new connections and meter installations. We had the new truck undercoated with that fluid film, just to prevent rust. That's the supposedly newest, latest, greatest to avoid rusting out the underneath of the trucks. So instead of the undercoating, you know, they used to do the rubberized undercoating,
yeah.
but they found out that just coats it and keeps
It
that
does
layer.
nothing. You get a chip in it, then it's rust.
And it keeps that layer of moisture underneath, and it starts rusting out from underneath the.
Especially the new crap they're putting on pre-treating the roads.
Yeah, calcium
That stuff
chloride
is
is
horrible.
awful.
It's sticking right to the frame of vehicles.
Yeah, so this stuff is supposed to be good for that. It
Yeah.
kind of builds up and just comes right off, but it doesn't get to the metal. let's see, 3 Cook Street, we turned it off and then back on, so they could replace the PIV valve out in front of their building. Let's see, the chemical for chlorine. EJPs, Mike Burden came out to help with the radio read troubleshooting. So we got that all squared away between the radio reads and Munis and the guns. That's pretty much it on the water.
But no. Skip that. Alrighty.
And then, so I see that they've started building a house in, what's that called, Walnut Grove, is that what they're gonna call? Up here, off of the pine dugout,
Oh no, that's Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow, I know it was something like that.
Walnut.
Little house on the prairie or something, I don't know, whatever. I saw they started building a house in there.
Yeah.
So is that, did they lay that, is that water main all laid in there already?
Yep. Laid and
Totally
looped.
tested.
And looped?
Laid, looped, tested, inspected.
And so now, will we start getting paid for taps on that, or?
Yep.
Okay. Has anybody been down yet?
No, they called me to come out and inspect
Did
the line going in.
Yeah, so I see they got a house framed
Yeah.
in there, so. At what point would they come in to?
Well, this is one of those things that I've argued in the past.
Don't
so-
go down the rabbit hole, I wanna go home.
So, the way it typically happens is before they sell, they come in. They can't get an occupancy permit until they, get the meter installed. And we don't let them turn the water on to do all their plastering and all that stuff until we put a meter in. And when we put the meter in, that's when we collect the fee.
So, alright, so they would be doing their own taps then?
They were all tapped when they put the mains in.
They were?
So
Okay.
when we had them do that, they did all the taps.
Yeah.
And we did the pressure test with the taps in place. It's a little more stringent of a test because you're testing the taps. A lot of times people don't want to test the mains when they do the taps because it's just more areas for
Yeah.
potential leaks.
Yeah.
But it's better for us because we,
Oh, so all the taps are already done?
yes, they already got taps ran off for each lot.
How many lots in there?
I want to say 18.
And then
I
my
know
only,
we got so many projects going on right now. It's hard to
yeah, it's
track them all.
crazy, isn't it? And then my only second question is a date for the rate hearing?
The rate hearing, I believe, is I called and talked to the paper to find out when I had to have it in and figure out my timeline.
Mm.
So we sent out the 2 dates. It would be the first one. So I want to say it's the 19th.
Of July?
Yeah.
That's all I got.
You haven't? What about these Sandtech? We'll work on that later.
That's
You
the,
review them?
That was the 75% drawings. That's what we needed to get to the point we could submit for the MassWorks grant.
Okay.
The one stop, whatever they're calling it now.
So we don't have to worry about that tonight.
No, that's
They're working on
those
it.
are here for me to go through because I already found a bunch of things that I want fixed in it. So that we don't end up with another one like we did down there for the Shell station where we're out here doing work because their plans say it's one size and it's not.
Right.
So I want to make sure they get it all right when we right from the beginning. So that is the plans for. So we've got 75% preliminary design prints for the new pump station down at Gilboa Street, the force main coming down from that pump station, and all the water main projects on the North Street from Main down to the Gilboa, down to the bridge, and then from the North Street, Gilboa Street intersection all the way down to where the new 12-inch main was. That's right at the parking lot of Guilford, or Classic, or whatever we're calling it now. And from Davis Street, from the intersection of Davis Street all the way down northeast to the end there. So that's what those plans are.
Alright, and I'll second
Yeah, I'm good. Make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8 o'clock.
it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.